Part 10. Shenhao, My Fiancée is a Villain Female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 91. Early the next morning, Zhang Cheng woke up Su Yao, who was still sleeping. Under the thin silk quilt, Su Yao's Meoman body turned, and she saw him wearing clothes sleepily. Leaving so early. Su Yao's voice was soft and she looked like she was not awake. Zhang Cheng leaned over, tapped Su Yao's forehead, and then smiled and said, "Well, I'm going to get busy today." "Oh, okay, I have to do a field trip to Fiancee today. The Su family has a project cooperation there. I have to go there in person. It may take a few days to come back." After being kissed by Zhang Cheng, Su Yao squinted. He closed his eyes and said softly. Zhang Cheng's heart moved. "Yeadu, isn't this the place where the Song family and Yeadu teamed up to trick the Su family?" It was precisely when something went wrong there that the Song family used this matter to criticize the Su family, causing the Su family to go bankrupt. "Have you forgotten what I told you last time?" Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng couldn't help but ask. Su Yao half sat on the bedside and nodded lightly. "No, I'm working with another company." "That's good." Zhang Cheng felt relieved after hearing this. "Okay, it's time for me to leave. You can have breakfast before going to the company." After getting dressed, Zhang Cheng left the room. Behind him, Su Yao watched him leave reluctantly, her eyes full of fascination. In this scene, Zhang Cheng looked like a scumbag who just pulled up his pants and ran away. At 9 o'clock, Zhang Cheng arrived at the Magic City International Hotel and went straight to the venue on the third floor of the hotel. Inside the venue, there is also a small conference room, which contains the 4 people from yesterday. As the organizers, they also arrived here early. After Zhang Cheng arrived, several people took out the information documents in their hands. "Young Master Zhang, these are the construction companies I selected last night that meet all the requirements. They are all relatively strong in the city." When Zhang Cheng sat down, Zhou Hao took out his briefcase and sorted it out. One night's information was placed in front of Zhang Cheng. Picking up the information, Zhang Cheng read it carefully and couldn't help but nod. Zhou Hao's analysis is indeed good. Based on the projects we have in hand, we need to make the following choices: planning the development of the central street and the construction of office buildings and commercial communities. The only ones that can start construction quickly are Fangman Group and Cone Construction Group. Then our newly formed construction company will first start building communities near the university town. We still need to leave the more important core areas to others to complete. Zhou Hao was on the side, analyzing Zhang Cheng in a clear and logical manner. The remaining 3 could only stare from the sidelines and couldn't say anything because this was no longer their area of expertise. "Yes, since you are already prepared, I can safely leave it to you to run it." Zhang Cheng put down the document in his hand and cast an approving look at Zhou Hao. So far, his estimated assets are around 100 billion. Of course, this is just an estimate, not cash flow. This company is run and developed by Zhou Haolei. The 2 black technologies he got from opening the villain gift pack yesterday were not intended to be integrated into this company. He also wants to build another technology company, which he will fully control. After all, this technology is more profitable than current real estate companies, and you can easily make huge profits of hundreds of billions. The company's name has been registered. It's called Tiancheng Industrial Group. The shareholding ratio has also been arranged according to yesterday's division. The initial registered investment is 1 billion. I personally contributed 7.5. You can pay it yourself when you have time. Zhang Cheng smiling and talking to a few people. Several people had no objections, except Lu Feng, whose expression suddenly changed. "Damn it, you still want me to pay? I dare you to give me the few hundred million that won't fit in my pocket? Brother Cheng, you don't need this much money anyway, so why not pay it for me?" Lu Feng rolled his eyes and chuckled. Zhang Cheng glanced at him and said calmly, "No problem, it's just over 100 million. How about I take 10% of your shares? I'll pay it for you. Forget it then, I'd better bear the pain and hand it over myself. Lu Feng suddenly laughed dryly and quickly rejected the request. Just kidding. 10% of the shares. According to current calculations in the market, the shares in my hand are worth at least 1 to 2 billion. To lose tens of billions for 1.5 billion, it would be enough to kill Song Qing and Lu Feng. Don't do it. Time passed little by little, and soon, people began to arrive at the venue on the third floor. In the venue, some familiar bosses gathered together to chat and laugh. Mr. Lin, you also want to come and see if you can get some scraps. Isn't that right? This is a big project. The capital has not done anything of this magnitude in 10 years. Not to mention fighting with other big guys, if we can get some side projects, it will be enough for us for 2 years. That's right, anyway, I gave up the development of the core area this time. I can make some other things and be full. When did you think Lu Feng, Wu Long and Zhang Hanjian reached an agreement and were willing to work together? Someone asked. It must be the Lu family who is pulling the strings. Otherwise, even if Wu Long and Zhang Hanjian have some land in their hands, it will be completely useless to them. They are most likely to sell it. We will still have a chance to win it by then. Alas, it's a pity that the Lu family took the lead. Some people immediately felt it was a pity. They didn't expect that everyone had not paid attention to it, but they made such a big move silently, and they were overtaken by the Lu family, who was neither up to nor down. After this time, the Lu family may have to be promoted to a billionaire business family. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but look envious. Hundreds of billions, that is what is really called having no worries about food and drink. People can live an extremely luxurious life for several lifetimes. Mr. Cheng, tell me whether you and your team can win the core development site this time through joint construction. If you can get it, Mr. Cheng's net worth will be over 10 billion. A burly middle-aged man, holding a glass of red wine in his hand, said with a wry smile, "How can it be so easy? Back then, I only had a market value of more than 6 billion with the support of Mr. Zhang. Now that Mr. Zhang has failed, my company's the market value has shrunk by half." The pot-bellied middle-aged man who had previously called Mr. Cheng also smiled at this moment. That's right. The Zhang group collapsed, and Mr. Cheng's life will not be easy. Hearing this, the people around him showed gloating smiles. Tongli Construction Group, relying on the Zhang family in the Magic City, was prosperous. Even when the Zhang family was vigorously developing, its market value once reached a peak of 8 billion. The eyes of the people around him all fell into Cheng Qing's eyes, making him sigh inwardly. Without the support of Mr. Zhang and Mr. Zhang, he would not be able to survive for long. Song and the other 3 supported companies have been competing with themselves during this period. With the backing of big companies, they have no scruples in occupying their own interests. Shenhao, My Fiancée is a Villain Female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 92. Mr. Cheng, do you have any intention of selling your shares? Our Huang Group is willing to pay a large price for it. Just when Cheng Qing sighed, an uncomfortable voice sounded beside him. When he glanced at it, he found that it was Huang Qingxiang, the president of the Huang Group, with an arrogant smile on his face. Cheng Qing regained her mood, looked at Huang Qingxiang and said coldly, "Mr. Huang is worrying too much. I have no idea of selling the company's shares yet. The Huang family, whether in terms of market value or total assets, is less than half of what he is now. He has the courage to talk about acquiring shares, and it is nothing more than the support of the Song family behind him. Otherwise, if the Huang family had more courage, they would not dare to be so arrogant. What Mr. Cheng said is wrong. Look, it has only been 10 days, and your company's shares have already plummeted by half. Judging from the situation, it is definitely going to fall. It's better to sell all the shares now. Use 1 billion to support your retirement. Huang Qingxiang mocked with a smile. In the past 3 days, he had received a notice from the Song family to try his best to crack down on the people of the Zhang family. He had enough money. Haha, how about I pay 500 million to buy 50% of the shares of your Huang family? Cheng Qing glanced at him and sneered, 500 million, he can still come up with it through gritted teeth. Are you worthy? Huang Qingxiang said directly. Cheng Qing even scolded him unceremoniously, then you, a little Huang Qingxiang, are you worthy of buying my Cheng Qing shares? Even if your Huang family is sold, it won't be worth 1/5 of my shares, you idiot. After saying that, he ignored the silly beep, took the wine glass and went somewhere else. Huang Qingxiang was left standing there with a very gloomy face. However, when Huang Qingxiang saw his half-brother coming, he immediately came up to him. Huang Qingzhong, are you worthy of participating in this bidding? You don't even care about your status. Do you really think that you have the capital to participate after taking 100 million? Huang Qingzhong, who was chatting with the owner of a small construction company he had dealt with over the years, heard the voice of his annoying younger brother. His face also became ugly. Without looking back, he scolded him directly, silly. Then he continued to talk to several bosses around him, without taking him to heart at all. Seeing this scene, Huang Qingxiang wanted to yell, but due to the current situation, he just looked at him bitterly and turned around to leave. Amidst everyone's chatting, the time quickly reached 10:30. The door to the small conference room opened, and Lu Feng and the other 3 walked out first. Seeing this scene, everyone stopped talking. Everyone looked at the 3 of them, and then looked at their friends next to them. It seems that the 3 people have indeed cooperated. Although they waited here for half an hour before the 3 of them came out to speak, no one dared to show any dissatisfaction. Because this time, it was not 3 people who came to them to cooperate in development. But they wanted to get it together. Because of this project, the profits that can be obtained are too great. Enough to make everyone jealous. When the 3 rightful masters appeared, everyone immediately surrounded them like sharks smelling the smell of blood. Master Lu, don't you know what plans you have? I have enough staff. As long as Master Lu nods, we can start work immediately. Mr. Wu, I wonder if you are willing to sell the piece of land in your hand. Our Gong family is willing to pay a high price to buy it. Or if you continue to invest, we can also help participate in the design and cooperative development. Yes, yes, Mr. Zhang, our Fu family is also interested in buying your land. You see, we have been cooperating for 2 years and we are still familiar with each other. I wonder if Mr. Zhang is willing to take action? Or leave it to me. I'll help you take care of it, and I guarantee you'll make a lot of money. The share split is negotiable. Everyone who had cooperated with several people came up one after another to establish friendship. No matter what, they had a better chance than some others. Lu Feng even smiled and pressed his hands at this moment, asking everyone to stop talking first. I think everyone is here for the project in our hands. However, let me explain to you first that the resources in the hands of the 3 of us will not be sold to the outside world. Everyone was a little disappointed when they heard this. Although it was expected, they still expected them to say they wanted to take action. In this way, even if they borrowed tens of billions and bought a piece of land from anyone in their hands, it would be a huge profit. After being disappointed, everyone returned to their enthusiasm. Since they couldn't buy land, taking on this big project would also make them a lot of money. Even if the material and construction fees are in arrears first, that is not a problem, because the profits later will be too great, and there is no need to worry that Lu Feng and the others cannot afford it. Seeing everyone's reaction, Lu Feng smiled and said, however, due to the large amount of work, several of us have acquired a lot of land, so in terms of construction projects, We will invite several companies with good plans among you. Come out to cooperate, have all the bosses prepared plans. After hearing Lu Feng's words, everyone immediately became energetic and quickly took out the plans and construction sketches that they had worked on overnight from their briefcases. Young Master Lu, this is the plan of our Fangman group. You can take a look at it first. This is me. One by one, the bosses picked up their plans and handed them to Lu Feng. Lu Feng took the plans with a smile and handed them to the professionals around him who were hired by Zhou Hao. Mr. Lu, this is my Huang family's plan and construction sketch. Take a look, Huang Qingxiang said with a smile on his face and handed over his documents with both hands. Lu Feng was stunned for a while when he heard this, and then looked at him with a slightly meaningful look. Is this the Huang family that Brother Cheng and Zhou Hao said they wanted to annex? Huang Qingxiang was secretly happy, thinking that Lu Feng was optimistic about him. When everyone's plans were brought over and several professionals looked at them carefully, Lu Feng looked at these bosses and said with a smile on his face. While everyone is here, I will also announce a big event to everyone. The bosses looked at each other with some confusion. Mr. Wu and Hong and I merged the property rights of the three people's land and registered a new company called Tiancheng Industrial Group. It is controlled by 5 people. More than a dozen CEOs were suddenly stunned, their faces full of disbelief. What the hell, 5 people control it? Then why did only 3 people show up? Shouldn't it be the head of the Lu family? It seems that a brand new $100 billion enterprise has emerged. Everyone's faces were full of surprise. Taking into account everyone's performance, Lu Feng's smile gradually brightened. He raised his hand and said, "Now, let us, the president of Tiancheng Group, come to say hello and get to know everyone. Oh, by the way, let me tell you that the future operations of Tiancheng Group will be decided by the new president. We will only be dividend shareholders." Hearing this sentence, everyone was even more surprised. Looking forward to the appearance of this mysterious CEO Tiancheng even more. Then, under the focus of everyone's eyes, a figure slowly walked out of the conference room. After seeing the face of the visitor clearly, everyone became confused. Who is this person? Only Huang Qingxiang's expression changed drastically. How could it be him? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shenhao, My Fiancée is a Villain Female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 93. Huang Qingxiang's expression changed instantly. When he saw Zhou Hao come in, he had a bad feeling. Zhou Hao walked confidently into the center of the circle slowly, with a calm and sophisticated demeanor, always with a faint smile. Even if he was surrounded by many bosses, he remained so calm. Looking at Zhou Hao's face, everyone was a little confused. Who is this person? Why have I never seen it before? Master Lu, who is he? A boss couldn't help but ask when he saw Zhou Hao coming. Without waiting for Lu Feng's introduction, Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Hello everyone, my name is Zhou Hao. I was hired by several shareholders to serve as the president of Tiancheng Group." Zhou Hao actually has a rich resume. He started his own business many times and was almost successful every time. However, due to its own lack of footwork, every time it reaches a period of growth, the company's operations will have various problems, the capital chain will be broken, and investors will withdraw their capital. The last time was to let his brother cheat him and give up the entire company to the power cultivated by Song Cheng, a lending company under Wang, who even suffered from heavy debts because he was the legal person in charge, and was finally visited. Debt collection. Zhou Hao now faces these company CEOs who often appear in the public eye. In the past, to him, they were like an insurmountable mountain, with a naturally large gap. But at least he is someone who has experienced all kinds of storms, not to mention being brought here by Zhang Cheng and meeting many top bosses, so he doesn't seem particularly nervous at this moment. In the past, Zhou Hao's first reaction after meeting these big shots was to go forward and promote his company, and then try to get their investment. However, now, he no longer needs to please anything. He only needs to stand here and be on an equal footing with these people who used to look up to him. This is the group president who was personally hired by the major shareholder of our Tiancheng group. He will have many opportunities to interact with the bosses in the future, so now let him come out and get familiar with everyone. Seeing their confused eyes, Lu Feng, who had been educated since childhood, immediately stood up and introduced them to everyone. Major shareholder, someone captured important information. Isn't the Lu family the major shareholder of Tiancheng Group? Fang Hao, chairman of Fangman Group, asked aloud, slightly moved. In his view, even if there is a merger of 5 shareholders, the Lu family should be the leader and occupy the majority of the shares. But at this moment, Lu Feng's words made everyone fall into deep thought again. Who is it that can win over the Lu family and the 3 powerful figures Wu Long and Zhang Hanjian? You must know that the Lu family's currently announced property has reached more than 40 billion. Wu Long is also worth almost 10 billion. Not to mention Zhang Hanjian, the number 1 underground force in the Demon City, is worth less than 20 billion. It's impossible. So we are working with a new person, isn't it, the Lu family? I wonder if this young CEO will look better and look better. At least he can share some soup here. Some people are worried, some are worried. In their eyes, anyone who is less than 30 years old and serves as the president of a large company is a young person. And super young. Most of them have second-generation entrepreneurs in their families. When they took over the company, they were generally 35 years old. Don't worry, bosses, our Tiancheng group is only conducting bidding activities this time, and will be selected according to everyone's plans and design sketches. Of course, it is best for the company to have some capabilities, otherwise it will delay everyone's ability to make money. Zhou Hao fully revealed at this moment, showing his CEO temperament. He talked and laughed happily. After hearing his words, everyone felt relieved. Then they swarmed up and started chatting with Zhou Hao. For them, if Lu Feng is not the talker, then they should wait until everything is finalized before going over to toast. Although Lu Feng is a generation younger than them, he is backed by the Lu family, which has tens of billions. The combined assets of most people here may not be as much as the Lu family. In order to build a good relationship, they naturally don't care about the order of seniority and age. The best thing is to be able to build relationships and make money. Mr. Zhou, let me tell you about our company's development plan for this area and the construction time. Mr. Zhou, why don't we sit down over there and talk in detail? They all pulled Zhou Hao to sit on a conference table in the venue. They were all very attentive. In their eyes, Zhou Hao was now a big benefactor. Hey, Mr. Huang, why don't you go over? At this time, someone noticed Huang Qingxiang, who was still standing there with a gloomy expression. Looking at him stunned, he couldn't help but shout. When he heard someone calling him, Huang Qingxiang forced an ugly smile on his face. No, no need. My heart bleeds. When Huang Qingxiang saw the smile on Zhou Hao's face, he always felt that he was mocking him. His face looked like he was constipated and nothing could be squeezed out. That day at Wang's house, he was so arrogant that he wanted to kick Zhou Hao out. As a result, the situation changed and this guy became prosperous so quickly. And hearing that he was the president of this newly established group, Huang Qingxiang had a bad feeling. Could it be that the mysterious super major shareholder is that person? Once this thought arises, it never goes away. If it is like this. Suddenly, an uncontrollable fear rose from the bottom of his heart. Zhou Hao also noticed him at this time. There were many people before, so he would not speak directly to Huang Qingxiang. Now that someone is talking, he does not need to restrain himself. Looking at the dozen or so people present, Zhou Hao smiled calmly and said, "There is something I need to tell the bosses." Hearing this, everyone looked away from Huang Qingxiang and responded with a smile. "If Mr. Zhou has anything to say, just say it." Zhou Hao glanced at Huang Qingxiang expressionlessly and said, "As for the Huang group, they will not have the opportunity to compete with you." Hearing Zhou Hao's words, everyone was overjoyed. The loss of the Huang group meant that they lost a strong competitor. However, what Zhou Hao said next made them all stunned. "As for the Huang group, if you have any cooperation with them, I would like to advise you to break off this cooperative relationship as soon as possible." Zhou Hao's voice was cold and emotionless. However, some building material providers have changed their minds. If they cooperate with Huang, they can earn 1 or 200 million a year from them. If they are cut off, they will suffer huge losses. But the following words made them forget all of this in an instant. If all the bosses who have cooperated with Huang can terminate their cooperation, our Tiancheng group will cooperate directly this time. No screening is required. Shenhao, My Fiancée is a Villain Female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 94. When Huang Qingxiang heard this, his face changed with shock, his eyes were evil, and he looked at Zhou Hao and said, "Young man named Zhou, don't think that because someone appreciates you, you can do whatever you want. You don't have the qualifications to destroy my Huang family. My Huang family is backed by the Song family. Everyone, are you sure you want to be our enemy?" Seeing the flickering eyes of this group of people, who seemed to be a little moved, Huang Qingxiang secretly thought something was wrong and quickly moved out of his support. Sure enough, after moving out of the Song family, these people all stopped thinking. Although the benefits are great, they still have to consider a lot when facing the Song family. Otherwise, if they are not careful, their bones will be wiped out. No one who can survive in the Magic City has insufficient IQ. Even people like Huang Qingxiang know that when faced with threats from a group of people, they can only survive by moving away from their backers. He's not stupid either, but he knows how to tell others what to eat. Otherwise, when Zhou Hao hadn't shown up before, he wouldn't have dared to be arrogant. Just because he saw people as weak, he would be tough and arrogant. A typical type who bullies the weak and fears the strong. "Mr. Zhou, how about, forget it? After all, we cannot afford to offend the Song family behind the Huang family. Yes, let's leave the Huang family alone first, and it won't be too late to deal with it later." At this moment, everyone began to persuade Zhou Hao to stop acting on impulse. "It won't be too late to make these plans after your Tiancheng group develops. No matter what, now that we have decided, we won't delay it. We will do whatever we want to do, no matter what the consequences, the Song family will come to us." At this time, Lu Feng and the other 3 people on the side also spoke. Zhang Hanjian, who had been silent all this time, chuckled and said, "I also want to see if the Song family is willing to go against me for him." "What is the Song family? Tell him to come here and protect this thing himself." Wu Long didn't care about his image and spat hard. To Wu Long, the Song family was an enemy. Seeing these big guys who were playing in underground forces speak, each of them fell into thinking. After a while, Cheng Qing, who had not been very active, was the first to stand up and said with a smile, "Since 3 of them have spoken, my Cheng family will terminate relevant cooperation with the Huang family." Seeing that the Cheng family, which was working together to build the project, was starting to make progress, others were also hesitant. At this moment, a burst of applause sounded, and everyone followed the sound, only to see another person walking out of the conference room. Zhang Cheng. The first time they saw him, everyone's expressions changed. Why was Zhang Cheng here? Zhang Cheng walked to the conference table with a smile on his hands and laughed, "Haha, Mr. Cheng did not disappoint me." Then, Zhou Hao immediately stood up and gave up his position. Seeing this scene, the expressions on everyone's faces became wonderful. Could it be that the major shareholder of Tiancheng Group is Zhang Cheng? Young Master Zhang, after seeing Zhang Cheng come out, Cheng Qing was stunned for a moment, then looked ecstatic. He rushed forward instantly. Mr. Cheng, you still have the courage. Yes, I will leave the Tiancheng Group's development project to you this time. Zhang Cheng glanced at him and said with a smile. Cheng Qing's Tongli Construction Group was cultivated by the Zhang family and has been supporting it since his father's generation. Until he went bankrupt, Cheng Qing actually wanted to help him, but was rejected by the original owner. Young Master Zhang is joking, I just can't stand the Huang family. Cheng Qing, a middle-aged man, scratched his head in front of Zhang Cheng and smiled heartily. Then, as if he thought of something, he immediately asked, is young Master Zhang a shareholder of Tiancheng Group? Without waiting for Zhang Cheng to answer, Lu Feng immediately said, Brother Cheng is the major shareholder of our Tiancheng Group, accounting for 75% of the shares. I hold 14%, and Hong and Mr. Wu hold 5%, and the remaining 1% is Mr. Zhou's. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression changed. This shareholding ratio means that Zhang Cheng's net worth will return to the hundreds of billions. And it's still calculated based on the current valuation. With steady development in the later period, there is still a lot of room for growth. It is only a matter of time before Zhang Cheng returns to 100 billion. Mr. Huang, let's terminate our company's cooperation first. Later, I will ask the legal department to draft the contract and send it over. The compensation will be calculated according to the proportion of the contract at that time. Me too, Mr. Huang, I'm sorry, it seems our cooperation can only be terminated first. When Zhang Cheng appeared, those who were still wavering all firmly decided to terminate their contract with Huang. Huang Qingxiang's face turned pale when he saw this scene. It's over, the major shareholder is really Zhang Cheng. Judging from the reactions of these people, he thought there was no way he could recover. Zhang Cheng. You are so cruel. After losing his mind, Huang Qingxiang looked at Zhang Cheng sitting in the front seat with resentful eyes and gritted his teeth. Zhang Cheng smiled indifferently, are you cruel? This is just the beginning. What I said that day, Huang Qingxiang, do you think I was just talking? I gave you a chance, but you didn't take it well. Do you want to blame me now? Then be more ruthless and see if Song Qing will continue to protect you. Zhang Cheng's tone was calm, as if he was describing an insignificant matter. Well, it really doesn't matter. For him, going to Wang's house that day was just a favor to Zhou Hao. As long as he is willing to do things for himself wholeheartedly, he will not hesitate to give some benefits. You. Huang Qingxiang stretched out his hand and wanted to say something, but couldn't. Only Zhou Hao's eyes turned cold. It's okay to point at him, but it's not okay to point at Mr. Zhang. Huang family, he's done with it. After having the resources, he also understood that it would not be particularly difficult for him to play as a Huang family. You can leave now, don't let me call someone to drag you out, Zhou Hao said in a cold voice. Seeing that everyone's eyes were focused on him, Huang Qingxiang felt that his face was dull. You're cruel. Let's wait and see. After saying harsh words, Huang Qingxiang quickly left the venue on the third floor. Looking at this dramatic scene, everyone just felt a little unreal. Everyone, let's continue to discuss cooperation. I will leave it to you to discuss how to allocate it. I will not participate in it. After Huang Qingxiang left, Zhang Cheng left the chair and returned him to Zhou Hao. He didn't care much about these interests. He could just leave it to Zhou Hao. There was no need to do everything himself. The farce comes to an end. The cooperation quarrel between these developers has just begun. The argument lasted for more than 3 hours. My mouth was dry and I didn't drink any water. Zhang Chins and his driver Lu Feng left the venue early, leaving them to discuss alone. After the matter was finalized, Everyone had a satisfied smile on their faces. Next, they can put all their focus into the development of this project, because the benefits are too great. It was almost 2 o'clock. Zhou glanced at the time on his watch and smiled at the bosses who had signed the contract. The cooperation has been negotiated. I have reserved a private room on the second floor. Everyone, come down and have a meal together. Let's eat. Mr. Zhou took the trouble. When Zhou led everyone to the lobby on the second floor, he was just about to ask the waiter to take them to the private room when he was suddenly stopped by a voice. Hey, who is that? Stop. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 95. Hey, it's really you, Zhou. Why, after selling the company, you still want to continue your business? Have you finished paying back the 500,000? I can't see it. 500,000 can be paid off so quickly. Can the house be sold? A man about 27 or 80-year-old hugged the waist of a good-looking woman and came to Zhou arrogantly. He looked sideways at Zhou with mocking eyes. It's your grandson. Zhou didn't get angry when he heard this. He looked at him and said calmly, but his eyes were extremely sharp. He looked at the man with eyes that seemed to be carrying a sharp sword. The man in front of him was the one who secretly colluded with Wang Hu about his company, and then sold the company. He even used the name of the company to get 500,000 yuan out of Wang Hu's lending company. He and the person in front of him were college classmates. They were both poor students in college and had a very good relationship. After graduation, the two of them saved some money and starting businesses. They started several times because the company was on the rise and a big company wanted to start a business. They wanted to acquire it, but it was shelved due to conceptual issues. In the end, the first two went bankrupt. When he started his third and last business, he finally reached the peak and the company had great development prospects. However, he colluded with Wang Hu's people and sold the company, leaving Zhou with huge debts. But he took the money from selling the company and the 500,000 cashed out, and he was free and easy, with a net worth of tens of millions. The enemy was extremely jealous when he met him. Although Zhou didn't show it, he couldn't help but want to kill him in his heart. Keep your mouth clean. You are a poor guy now. How can you have the confidence to talk to me like this? After hearing Zhou's words, Xia Zifeng broke out and cursed. Why, with this little money, I'm going to act like this to you. You deserve it if you are a high-ranking person or a low-ranking person, Zhou replied in the same unceremonious manner. He and Xia Zifeng had a good relationship before, but after starting their own business, he discovered many problems. Although Xia Zifeng is somewhat shrewd, he does not have the courage to fight. Once he encounters some temptations, he will shrink back and give up his promising future. If you were like me and worked hard together, your net worth would have reached tens of millions by now. How could you start a business several times and still be a pauper? This little money? Haha, even with this little money, I'm still richer than you. Who do you think you are? Now you're a waste. Is it better than I am? I'm telling you, I am now the regional manager of Fangman Group. Do you still want to compete with me? Xia Zifeng looked at him with disdain. After cashing out, he relied on his entrepreneurial resume, successfully got a job as a regional manager of Fangman Group, with a monthly salary of 40,000. Although it is not worth mentioning compared to his net worth of tens of millions, it is still a decent job. Otherwise, these tens of millions are really useless in Shanghai. A house is almost enough. Zhou had a strange look on his face when he heard this. Should I tell this person that the chairman of your Fangman Group is in the elevator behind me now? Even behind him, the bosses who stopped following Zhou all looked at each other, looking at the clown who cared about sex in front of them. A little strange, is this person a fool? However, they also knew a little bit about Zhou's origins. There was even some confusion as to why Zhang Cheng would hire such a failed entrepreneur to be the president of his Tiancheng group, and even allocate shares to him. Zhou Hao, I don't care about the faults of small people. As long as you slap yourself 3 times now, I can pay back the 500,000 for you and let you come to my company to work. Seeing Zhou Hao not speaking, Xia Zifeng suddenly I feel energetic and confident. Ding. Suddenly, the elevator came down, the elevator door opened, and a cheerful voice came from the elevator, Mr. Zhou, are you still here? Hearing the familiar voice, the first person to react was not Zhou Hao, but Xia Zifeng, who was still arrogant just a second ago. When Xia Zifeng heard the voice of Fang Guang, the boss of Fangman Group, he immediately trembled. He subconsciously ignored the first 2 words, thinking that Fang Guang was calling someone else. Quickly turning around and running to the elevator, Xia Zifeng said with an earnest look, Director Fang, are you coming here to eat too? Fang Guang, who had just stepped out of the elevator door, heard this voice. He was stunned for a moment, then looked at him and said, are you, the new regional manager? Yes, my name is Xia Zifeng, and I am the regional manager of Tianxing district. Xia Zifeng nodded hurriedly and smiled apologetically. Fang Guang nodded and didn't talk to him again. A group of bosses behind him naturally stopped when they saw him stop. When Xia Zifeng saw this scene, he also understood that this was a dinner party for a group of big guys, so he could shamelessly come up to say hello and look familiar. Director Fang, please. Xia Zifeng then walked in front to lead the way, just like a waiter. When passing Zhou Hao, Xia Zifeng said directly, Zhou Hao, get out of the way quickly and don't block the road. No one here can be offended by you. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 96. Zhou Hao's expression became even weirder, and he suppressed a smile and said, Xia Zifeng, are you telling the truth? Xia Zifeng was stunned. Nonsense, get out of here. Your name is Xia Zifeng? Right. Suddenly, behind him, Fang Guang's voice sounded faintly. Xia Zifeng hurriedly turned around and said flatteringly, yes, Director Fang, please wait a moment, I will ask him to get out of the way now. After saying that, Xia Zifeng was about to continue to use his arrogance to drive away Zhou Hao, who was occupying the road, but he heard the cold voice of Fang Guang behind him. No, you can get out. Xia Zifeng was suddenly stunned, a little confused. You can get out of the company. Fang Guang's voice was calm and there was no room for doubt. Why, Xia Zifeng couldn't believe it, with a look of confusion on his face. I am obviously trying to please the chairman. Why would he kick himself out of the company? Doesn't it mean that the chairman appreciates smart people? Why? There is no reason. You can get out of Magic City from now on. If you can still find a decent job in Magic City, then I, Fang, will be considered incompetent. Fang Guang's voice became colder and colder. So stupid. Why did we finally reach an agreement, and then some idiot came out to cause trouble? He also directly collided with his rich man. Fang Guang had the urge to support his forehead and fire all these flatterers when he got back. He might offend someone again one day. When Xia Zifeng heard this, he immediately panicked. Fangman Group was considered the largest construction industry boss in Shanghai. If he asked someone with whom he had no connection to lose his job, no matter which company it was, they would probably sell it to Fang Guang. Face. Director Fang, I don't know what I did wrong. What did you do wrong? You offended Mr. Zhou, tell me why. Get out. Fortunately, Fang Guang couldn't bear it and couldn't hit people in public, otherwise he would have wanted to kick this blind thing. Zhou, Mr. Zhou, Xia Zifeng's head buzzed and exploded. The Mr. Zhou that Director Fang called earlier was Zhou Hao. Xia Zhaifeng turned his head with difficulty and found Zhou Hao looking at him with a half-smile. Suddenly, he felt incredible, as if the world was joking with him. A person who was still running around for a debt of 500,000 yuan before, suddenly transformed into a person who even the chairman of Fangman Group politely called Mr. Zhou after not seeing him for a few days. Mr. Zhou, let's go, don't pay attention to this idiot. Fang Guan kicked Xia Zhaifeng away, came to Zhou Hao, and said with a smile. There was a smile on his face, but Fang Guang's eyes were a little gloomy. Zhou Hao smiled and nodded, his eyes suddenly focused on Xia Zhaifeng. By the way, I forgot to tell you, I am now the president of Tiancheng Group, and besides, I will have people investigate your case of selling my company for 10 million yuan after a while. I hope you were smart enough to eliminate all the evidence, otherwise you will be waiting to go to jail at this point. Zhou Hao, the tone suddenly changed, extremely sharp. When Fang Guang heard this, he suddenly thought of something, and then immediately said, Mr. Zhou, since this guy has done anything dirty before, let me investigate, and I guarantee that he will be put behind bars. Don't be afraid, haha, this amount is enough. Fang Guang smiled coldly. Since there is direct evidence, with his connections, it is easy to get Xia Zhaifeng in. Although some favors have to be wasted, it is worth it to gain face by betraying Zhou Hao. Hearing this, Xia Zhaifeng, who was still in a daze, suddenly became alert, and fear arose in his heart. Mr. Zhou, I was wrong. I am willing to return the money to you. Please don't check. I don't want to go in. Xia Zhaifeng rushed forward, but as soon as he reached Zhou Hao, he kicked him to the ground. On the ground. Go away, you sold a company worth tens of millions for 10 million, and you told me to give me all the money. Can you get tens of millions? Zhou Hao's move shocked everyone. However, the voice was extremely cold. In his eyes, even if you sell your shares, you won't say anything. This is your private matter. But Xia Zhaifeng threw away the entire company for tens of millions, and ended up burdening himself with an unwarranted debt of 500,000 yuan. Back then, I thought you were a brother, but you thought of me as a villain. Now you want me to let you go. How much he trusted Xia Zhaifeng back then, now he hates him so much. After saying that, Zhou Hao turned around and walked towards the private room, no longer looking at Xia Zhaifeng, who was sitting limply on the ground. The other side. Zhang Cheng took driver Lu Feng to Qin Ming Club. In Qin Ming's luxurious office, Zhang Cheng sat on the sofa, looked at Qin Ming, who was standing in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the scenery of the Magic City, and said calmly, "Let's talk about business." Hold. Has the character collapsed? Qin Ming's face froze, and he returned to the chair and sat down. The people above are officially going to check Songqing's property today. Zhang Chen nodded and said, "The efficiency is good." Then he looked at Qin Ming and said casually, "I want you to play less, so you really don't worry about yourself getting married, right? Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 97. Qin Ming's face stiffened, and then he said sarcastically, "Did you see it? He couldn't hold it back last night and went to find the two princesses again without taking any safety measures." Zhang Cheng glanced at you and said calmly, "Your kidney failure is written all over your face. You can tell what you did last night just by looking at it. Your face is pale, your legs are weak, and your waist is bent a little. Are you a little afraid of the cold recently?" Qin Ming blushed and scratched his head, "Indeed. Play less, you will really become impotent if you continue like this," Zhang Chenjiao said seriously. Qin Ming was immediately startled. "Damn it, impotence. Ahem, let's not talk about this anymore. Let me show you the preliminary investigation results." Qin Ming coughed twice, then picked up the document on the table and handed it to Zhang Cheng. Zhang Cheng took it casually and looked at it carefully. "It's really like what you said. Song Qing's club is indeed not clean. He secretly photographed the privacy of some big shots, and then used it to blackmail and facilitate his own career. Tisk, tisk, when I saw the details of his income, I almost felt envious. The money comes in so fast. Qin Ming tisk-ticked and smiled. When he got the information and saw the various records of Song Qing Club, he was almost shocked. The annual income was at least 3 billion. What the hell, is this still a club? The income is higher than the annual net profit of some large companies. Although he also has some dirty channels, the speed at which he gets money is still within an acceptable range. As long as he doesn't commit any crimes, basically no one will use these as an excuse. In the original work, Qin Ming was sent to prison by Ye Tian because Ye Tian brought out his affairs and put them in the open. Although his father was the second in command in the Magic City, he really couldn't protect him because he would die as soon as he started. After all, the connections Ye Tiandong uses are there. I advise you to clean up those dirty properties of yours. Don't be found out and make trouble. Then you will be a cheater. Zhang Cheng turned his head after reading the document and said calmly. Qin Ming nodded. It was really time to restrain himself. His old man was on the rise, so he couldn't afford to lose a little. Brother Cheng, is Song Qing going to die? Lu Feng, who had no sense of presence at the side, asked curiously. Since 5 days ago, Lu Feng has completely transformed from the school bully to Zhang Cheng's younger brother. Have no idea. Zhang Cheng has seen so much for him that he can't even be a younger brother. It's impossible to be a big brother. He can only follow Zhang Cheng and eat some meat in this life, so that the newly recruited younger brother will listen to him. If nothing else, the Song family will be in bad luck these days. Zhang Cheng squinted his eyes and nodded. Thinking of something, Zhang Cheng couldn't help but said, "Do you remember what day it is today?" The two of them were a little confused and asked, "What day?" At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the day when the three families of Long, Li, and Song announced the formation of a strategic alliance. Because of Ye Tian, the news of the alliance was supposed to be announced on the third day after the reception, but it was delayed for a whole day, and it was not until last night that the agreement was finally reached. Lu Feng and Qin Ming were suddenly stunned, and then looked strange. If news of Song Qing's arrest comes out after the announcement, how will the Long family and the Li family react? At this moment, they seemed to see a very interesting picture. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, at a press conference held by Song Group, the presidents of Long Group, Li Group, and Song Group came forward. Under the podium, there were many invited reporters, website reporters, and TV station reporters. On the stage, there were 3 sofas. Sitting respectively were Song Yiwei, Long Ziyi, the president of Long family, and Li Haiwen, the eldest son of Li Changtian, the president of Li family. Song Yiwei was dressed in professional attire, with a bright smile on her delicate and beautiful face. First of all, welcome everyone to the press conference. Today, our 3 major groups have officially broken through the previous barriers and carried out in-depth business cooperation. Our Song Group initiated the strategic alliance. At this moment, our signing ceremony officially begins. Then, the group staff took out the 3-party strategic alliance contract and distributed it to the 3 people. The presidents of the 3 parties looked at this contract very seriously and only put it down after 10 minutes. We, the Long family, have no objection. The Li Group has no objection. After all the necessary procedures were completed, Song Yiwei took the lead in signing her name and then handed it to Long Group and Li Group. When the 3 signatures are placed on the contract, this strategic alliance is officially established. Song Yiwei, Li Haiwen, and Long Ziyi stood up and shook hands. The reporters in the audience picked up their cameras to record the scene in front of them. After it ended, this scene was quickly broadcast on major news websites and Shanghai TV. In the Su family, Su Hanhai watched their signing ceremony on TV and couldn't help but breathe faster. The Long family and the Li family had obviously been cooperating with them for a long time, but in one night, they turned to the Song family. Hateful. However, that night, a piece of heavy news quickly spread among the upper circles of the Magic City. Song Qing was taken away by the inspection team for investigation. The reason is secretly photographing the privacy of important people. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 98. Awesome, awesome. As expected of the Song family, you dare to do such a thing. No, after all, they are also a group worth hundreds of billions. If these things happen, the big shots being photographed will definitely have to swallow their anger. How can they dare to resist? Stop talking, you can't talk next time you go to the club. Otherwise you will be overheard. As you said, I've also been to Song Qing's underground casino. I'm a good boy. I lost hundreds of thousands at that time. I feel bad. In a prestige group of a rich second generation in a magical city, messages are constantly being refreshed. For a moment, Song Qing became the subject of their discussion after dinner today, and they all started eating such a big melon, not to mention, it was quite delicious. The Song family was filled with sadness at this time. In the Song family villa, Song Yunzhung looked gloomy as he watched the latest news. When he saw one piece of negative news and constantly attacking the Song family, Song Yunzhung threw the phone in his hand directly. Idiot, idiot, Song Yunzhung roared angrily. Hateful. This Zhang Chen has done such an incredible job. Seeing her grandfather getting angry, Song Yiwei remained silent. Our Song Group's stock will definitely fall sharply tomorrow, and this matter must be covered up as soon as possible. After venting, Song Yunzhung sat back on his chair, holding his forehead and sighed. If such a big thing happens, Song's opponents will not miss this opportunity and will definitely launch a frantic attack on Song. Grandpa, that little brother. Seeing that he was no longer angry and smashing things, Song Yiwei spoke slowly. Humph, this idiot thing, let him stay in jail for a few days first, wait until this matter is suppressed, and then find a way to get him out. I hope his subordinates are reliable and can take the blame for him. Song Yunzhung snorted coldly. He said, his words full of dissatisfaction with Song Qing's performance. If he hadn't only had such a direct grandson, he would have been too lazy to deal with such nonsense and would have thrown him out long ago to calm down the turmoil. Song Yiwei nodded, this is also the best way. In fact, even if the Song family used their connections to get Song Qing out, they still wouldn't be able to do it. After all, this matter involves too many people. Although the officials and wealthy people who were secretly photographed by Song Qing were not in high positions, together they were a force that should not be underestimated. Where is Ye Tian? Why didn't he follow you? Seeing that only Song Yiwei was coming, Song Yuntian frowned slightly. Although Zhang Qinji was tricked that night and Ye Tian's reputation as a miracle doctor was somewhat bad, he still had some strength after all. The important thing was that he could also extend people's lives. This is what Song Yunzhung values now, and treating the disease is secondary. Ye Tian, he said he still has to go to school and has been running out recently. After hesitating, Song Yiwei told Song Yunzhung all about Ye Tian's movements. After listening, Song Yunzhen's frown deepened and he said in a serious voice, Yiwei, you'd better hold Ye Tian tightly and don't let him escape from our grasp, otherwise there will be big changes. Because now, he has started to operate some things through Ye Tian's ability. If Ye Tian escapes from his control, the consequences will be serious. Not to mention other things, there will definitely be some movement from the Long family and the Li family. Because you no longer have a stable factor that can bind your interests to them. Song Yiwei nodded, I understand, I will have a good talk with Ye Tian. Song Yiwei understood what her grandfather wanted her to do, and if necessary, she would even fight Ye Tian. But she had no choice, because this was her family and she had to protect it. That night, in the Su family villa, after Su Hanhai got the news, he instantly changed from being sad to being extremely happy. He had been fighting with the Song family for decades, and he didn't even think about a life or death feud. Seeing that the Su family he founded might be about to collapse, he did not expect such a shocking reversal. Ha ha ha, God help me, old thief Song, it doesn't matter if we form an alliance with them, we won't be evenly matched in the end. Su Hanhai took a sip of the 52-degree Urquatu and smiled heartily. The empty villa hall echoed with Su Hanhai's excited laughter that could not be concealed. So cool. Similarly, in Qin Ming's aristocratic club, Zhang Chen, Lu Feng, and Qin Ming were sitting in a box in the restaurant on the third floor of the club. The three of them drank from cup to cup. On the mobile prestige chat group interface that Qin Ming placed on the table, various messages speculating on what Song Qing had done were constantly being refreshed. Hey, if this news is released, I estimate that the Song Group's stock price will drop to the limit when the market opens tomorrow morning. Lu Feng took a sip of wine and smiled. Zhang Chen, the Song family will definitely use their connections to suppress this matter. Do you need me to do anything? Qin Ming looked at Zhang Chen and asked. Although this matter will indeed give the Song family a headache for a period of time, it will even hurt their stocks. But these are secondary, because as long as this matter continues to ferment for a while and the sensitive period passes, the Song family will definitely protect Song Qing. When the time comes, the Song family will donate some money, build a few Hope primary schools, get good reviews and hit hot searches, and the stock price will slowly rise back up. Zhang Cheng's eyes were deep and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. No need, the Song family can't protect Song Qing this time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shenhao, My Fiancée is a Villain Female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 99. Qin Ming was a little surprised and asked, is it true or not? Can't even the Song family be saved? It's not that he doesn't believe in Zhang Cheng's ability, but the Song family is also a business family worth hundreds of billions. No matter what happens, they will use all their strength to save Song Qing without any problem. Zhang Chen nodded lightly, well, if I only rely on you this time, I guess I will just let this guy stay in jail for a few more days. Qin Ming smiled coquettishly when he heard this. What Zhang Cheng said was pretty much the same. After all, if the Song family insisted on it, they could make the top leader sell to the Song family to save face. After all, it is a local enterprise worth hundreds of billions in Shanghai, so this face must be given. If I had no backup plan, where did the evidence I gave you that night come from? Zhang Cheng took a sip of wine and said with a smile. The next day, Song Yunzheng directly called Li Rui to the Song family villa. On the sofa, Song Yunzheng took a sip of tea, threw out a bank card, and said calmly, this is the 80 million you want. It's all in this card, and the password is written on the back. Song Yunzheng spoke in a condescending tone, as if giving alms, and did not even look at Li Rui. All this was caught in Li Rui's eyes. Although he was angry, he did not dare to show it. He could only sneer secretly. You asked me to take the blame for your grandson, not charity. Fortunately, I met Mr. Zhang, otherwise I would have shed tears of gratitude and thought that the Song family were all good people. You still get so much money for taking the blame. Li Rui bent down with some frustration, picked up the bank card, and pretended to be excited. Don't worry, Patriarch Song, I will definitely get it done. Seeing Li Rui's reaction, Song Yunzheng nodded with satisfaction, and then said comfortingly, don't worry, as long as you take the blame for Qing our Song family will try to minimize your punishment for you and give you the best possible punishment. Get a good lawyer to defend you. Thank you so much to your whole family. Li Rui cursed in his heart, damn it, you tried to keep it as low as possible, so damn, thank you if you didn't end it for me. In the past few years when he worked under Song Qing, he had already known what kind of person Song Qing was. As soon as the incident was over, he would immediately forget it. When he comes out, how will he still remember that I, Li Rui, am here? Thinking of this, Li Rui felt a little sad again. I have done dirty things for him for so many years, but when the incident happened, I let myself take the blame. Fortunately, I am not at a huge loss either. When he thought that he slept with Song Qing's woman and got pregnant, he cheered up again. When I get out of jail, I will be a father too. Thank you Patriarch Song, I will definitely take care of this matter. Li Rui nodded and bowed, and said with great respect. Looking at his appearance, Song Yunzheng waved his hand impatiently. Okay, you go down first and wait for my notification. At his current age, he would feel disgusted if he saw too many such flattering people. If he didn't have to let this key figure take the blame, how could he meet such a small character? Hearing this, Li Rui immediately said, okay, I'll leave now. After leaving the villa, Li Rui's bent waist straightened instantly. Bah, what the hell? Li Rui couldn't help but spit as he walked on the road. Forget it, go back and arrange for your wife and parents to run away. After getting into the car leisurely, Li Rui began to make arrangements for his arrival. Ziwa's wife must be taken away, and then my parents were also arranged by Mr. Zhang. After 3 months, I will retire with this huge savings of hundreds of millions. Li Rui muttered to himself, started the car and left the villa area. Not long after he left, a Ferrari 458 roared into the Song family villa. Ye Tian got off the car, looked at his first stop to make a fortune, and grinned. The Song family is dispensable after all. In the past few days, he worked extremely hard to hook up with the rich second generations he met that night. Finally, under the influence of his protagonist's halo, the rich second generation reluctantly agreed to let him treat the disease. In the end, the results were quick, and Ye Tian went from a net worth of tens of millions to a man worth hundreds of millions. One of the rich second-generation people from a well-off family even called himself a brother-in-law and gave him this Ferrari as a gift. Song Yunzheng walked into the villa and was about to go to the study to read for a while. When he saw Ye Tian walking in, he couldn't help but be startled. Soon, a smile appeared on the old face. Little friend Ye, why do you think of coming to see me, old man? Regarding Ye Tian, Song Yunzhen's attitude was the same as what he said that night, he must be caught firmly. Ye Tian looked at the false smile on Song Yunzhen's face and smiled, Mr. Song, let me come over and tell you something. What's the matter? Song Yunzheng was a little confused. Ye Tian looked at him with a sly smile on his lips, our cooperation has ended. The faint words were like a thunderbolt from the blue, exploding in Song Yunzhen's mind. What are you saying? And that night, another piece of bombshell news spread throughout the upper-class society in Shanghai. One of Song Qing's employees went to the inspection team with sufficient evidence to report Song Qing under his real name. Shenhao, my fiancée is a villain female CEO. Author, Floating Like Sand. Chapter 100. In the Song family, Song Yunzheng was furious. The calmness and kindness of the past were completely gone, only rage. Hateful, why did things develop like this? Bang! A delicate ceramic teapot was smashed out by Song Yunzheng. Immediately, the ceramic fragments fell into pieces, and splashing tea splashed on Song Yiwei's skirt. Song Yiwei frowned at his actions and said softly, Grandpa, now is not the time to get angry. Although she also wanted to smash things, the current situation did not allow her to lose her mind, otherwise the Song family would really lose miserably. That beast Li Rui dared to disobey my order and turn himself in to report Qing damn him. Song Yunzhen's eyes were red and his voice was extremely hoarse. Find his family. Since he dares to destroy my grandson, then I will destroy his family, Song Yunzheng shouted through gritted teeth. He would not let the traitor Li Rui go so easily. He dared to let himself fall into a deeper passive situation. Damn it! Song Yiwei shook her head. He has erased his family's information through special channels, and no one can be found at all. In addition, interestingly, one of my younger brother's women was also taken away by him. Song Yun's Hung froze when he heard this, and then became even more angry. Damn you! You dare to cuckold someone from my Song family. Don't let me squat until he comes out, otherwise this bitch will die. And that Ye Tian dares to betray our Song family, he won't even think about it easy. After venting Li Rui's betrayal, Song Yun's Hung said viciously. Li Rui is a piece of shit. Even if he betrays me, you, Ye Tian, have heard so many of my secrets and now you dare to betray me. Recalling the image of Ye Tian personally running over to mock him this afternoon, Song Yun's Hung felt that his heart could not help but twitch. Ye Tian has taken refuge with Luo Lizzie. We can't touch him, but he is still in contact with me. Song Yiwei took a sip of tea, a hint of anger flashed in her beautiful eyes. I was still thinking about whether I should have an affair with you, but you turned around and betrayed me. Now I still have the nerve to keep in touch with myself. It's all this Zhang Cheng. Ever since he re-entered the public eye after his bankruptcy, our Song family has been in bad luck. We don't know where we offended him. Song Yun's Hung thought for a while and shifted the blame back to Zhang Cheng. However, he never imagined that the reason why the Song family would be treated like this by Zhang Cheng was entirely because of Song Qing's defiance against him at the club's underground auction. It turns out that Zhang Cheng just wanted to make money and annex your Song family, but at least he wanted to keep some for you. But later on, Zhang Cheng no longer had such childish thoughts. Because Zhang Cheng felt that if he let the matter go, the Song family would definitely not be grateful and would think that he had let the Song family go. On the contrary, the Song family would hold a grudge against Zhang Cheng for annexing them, and in the end, they would try to give him all sorts of tricks while they still had the ability. So Zhang Cheng doesn't want to be a good guy anymore. If he wants to do something big, he might as well make it bigger and make the entire Song family go bankrupt. Anyway, in the plot of the original work, after the Su family was bankrupted by the Song family, they also had a bad ending. At the same time, Zhang Cheng had been lying in the villa all day and was now talking on the phone with Su Yao, who was far away in the demon capital. My dear, are you still used to being in the demon city? Did the conversation go smoothly? Zhang Cheng spoke softly and called out dear in a disgusting manner. On the other end of the phone, Su Yao was wearing pajamas, lying lazily on the sofa in the hotel's presidential suite, watching TV. Her voice was as sweet as a bell. Well, it's going well. In 5 days, it should be fine. Go back. Su Yao's words were full of joy, and then she said, there have been so many big things happening in the Song family recently, are they all related to you? Based on a woman's intuition, Su Yao strongly suspected that Zhang Cheng did it. Zhang Cheng smiled, you're so smart. Since the Song family wants to mess with you, they have to consider the consequences, right? Hearing his words, Su Yao couldn't help but blush. Is it because of me? I have a call coming in from here. That's it for now. I'll be back in a few days. Please be calm during this time and don't create a lot of sisters for me. Su Yao saw the call coming from her mobile phone. Finally, he and Zhang Cheng kissed on the phone, and then hung up the call that had lasted more than half an hour. When Su Yao hung up the phone, Zhang Cheng showed a smile on his face. You said you can't punish a lot of sisters, so just 1 or 2 sisters will be fine. Tomorrow, let's go see Miss Qingjian first. I haven't seen her for so many days, and I don't know if she is in a better mood. Zhang Cheng flipped through his phone, found Lin Qingjian's WeChat account, and sent her a good night. Then he cut it out. Every time he thinks of those 2 idiots, Zhang Cheng still feels a bit toothache. If those 2 idiots hadn't come out like this, his relationship with Qingjian girl would have been closer by who knows how many centimeters. And Su Qingying, I haven't contacted her during this period, and I miss her strangely. Putting down his cell phone, Zhang Cheng lay on his bed, stretched out, and exhaled. The Song family can let it go for now. They will suffer enough from now on. It's been a long time, so it's time to update my fish keeping diary.